And one of Mark's favorite players for the Lakers this season has been Talen Horton-Tucker. There's been a report that's come by within the past 24 hours about how there's other teams in the NBA that are drawing interest of when his free agency will come up. How do you feel about Talen Horton-Tucker?
I do. He's like, I've been saying it for a while that if he reaches his peak, he's definitely an all-star. Because he has long arms and he has like big hands, and plus he's very skilled, right? He kind of reminds me of like Eric Gordon, but with longer arms and bigger hands. I think the dude could be special, and the good thing about it is that he doesn't seem to be trapped by Hollywood, like how a certain player is trapped by Hollywood.
I'm feeling you.
You know what I mean? So
oh yeah.
I feel like the dude is like pretty focused, especially since he doesn't look like he's 20. Even Kawhi was confused. Kawhi thought like, oh, he's 20. Like he asked West, right? So I like the fact is that dude has his head on straight and he works hard. And he's talented. So all that stuff put together, he should have a pretty good career. And if he reaches his peak, he should be an all-star, in my opinion.
Now,
go ahead.
No, what were you about to say real quick, Mark?
No, really quickly. One of the reasons why I like him so much, too, is that he just puts his head down and works. He kind of reminds me of some other guy we had on a team for like 20 years, but I don't know. It's a little too early to say to make those comparisons because clearly that's a big compliment if I were to say that, but I feel like he's a second coming just a little bit.
Yeah, no. I don't blame you for that because I really think that he's the best guard prospect that the Lakers have drafted since Kobe, right? I mean, like D'Angelo, yes and no, didn't kind of worked out, but didn't. Same thing with Lonzo, but THT, he kind of has everything, right? Like he has the aggressiveness and the defense that D'Lo never had, and he has the offensive game that Lonzo will probably never have. So if you put that all together, like he's probably the best prospect we've had.
Yeah, and I will say this real quick. I think when it comes to for like how Joey Buss was able to pull it off with like drafting the lottery picks, it's one thing to grab so many like diamonds in the rough, the way he was able to, like the Julius Randles, Brandon Ingrams, D'Angelo Russell. Like, a lot of those players were lottery picks, though. So, Imagine now grabbing Kyle Kuzma late in the first round, or grabbing, like, a second-round pick when a lot of people were expecting you, like, oh, how come you didn't get Bol, who was still on the board at that time? Like, I was shocked that, like, Talen Horton-Tucker ended up being somebody that's it's going to sound like an insult, but it's relevant. Like, a lot of second-round players don't end up becoming, like, a starter, or I should say someone coming off the bench behind LeBron James.
Right. Like look at the guys that they drafted in the second round. Jordan Clarkson, he just got the bag over the summer, right? Like he's probably, I think, made over $100 million in his career already. Like Jordan Clarkson, Thomas Bryant, Zoo. Who else am I missing here? The only THT obviously. The list goes on and on. I'm sure I'm missing some guys here. The only guy that they really struck out on is Anthony Brown. Everybody else, if you look at it, if you look down the list, like they've pretty much nailed every draft pick that they had to some degree. You know what I mean? Like the jury's still out on Lonzo, but other than that, these guys have been like producing way over their draft status.
Yeah, and that has to say much. Like that has to say that's a compliment for the Lakers, especially because it is Joey Buss that's scouting these guys, right?
Joey, Jesse,
Jesse,
you gotta give props to Billy Burke, the legend. You know that dude has forgotten more basketball than I'll ever know. The guy and he's been he was an assistant coach for longer than I've been alive. So the guy, the Lakers have a really good eye for talent, and that's something that. That's why when we get second rounders, everybody's excited because we already know they're more than likely have a 99% chance of making that pick hit. You know what I mean? So when we got him, I know there's a clutch connection to it too, but if you listen to the people on the radio, people like Dave McMenamin, he says stuff like, "Hey, you got to give credit to the Lakers front office for drafting this guy, even though there's a clutch connection to this, they still had faith in him, and like they didn't need to like see any workouts with him or whatnot. They just went ahead and they already knew that from their scouting, they trusted their eyes, and and they expected him to be good, and so that's where he is. Like Vogel even said that in the playoffs last year, like this kid's going to start for me next year. He's not. I don't know if he's there yet, but eventually he will be a starter in this league, sure.
Yeah, and look, speaking of young talent that's practically starting like on and off, I know you're sort of a Kuzma supporter, correct?
Oh, I'm a huge Kuzma fan. If everybody knows who I am. Yeah, absolutely.
So here's the thing. I know he's been on the chopping block.
Part of me was like, wait, was this a whole, like, he was just pretending the whole time? I'm kidding.
I know, like, okay, I know he's been on the chopping block for a lot of Laker fans, and a lot of the trades that I see for, like, Kyle Kuzma, I'm like, it's not, like, you do realize he has a lot of potential. The league sees he has potential. I don't know why Laker fans don't see the same potential. But there's one type of trade that was actually interesting for me to see, and I would like to see this happen. I'm not sure if you saw, but John Collins of the Atlanta Hawks, their center, is kind of disgruntled with Trae Young, and he denied a contract extension during the offseason. If there was one player to go to trade for the Lakers, it would be John Collins, and I would totally understand if it was for Kyle Kuzma.
Oh, no, like, if you do that, if the Lakers did that, like, Pelinka should be charged for armed robbery, to be honest with you. Like, John Collins is what we want Kuz to be, basically. Like, don't get me wrong. Look, I'm pretty hard on Kuz, right? But I consider myself a rational hater, right? Like, he was really good in his first year, to the point where I actually bought his Black Mamba T-shirt jersey. Right, because I was like, oh, this guy actually could commit to the Lakers, and like he's gonna be really good and whatnot. And then Hollywood just turned him out, and I'm like, okay, how do I burn this shirt? You know, but but they had like that's the thing. I wasn't sure whether I should burn it or throw it away or anything, because I wasn't sure whether they're gonna bring out Black Mamba T-shirts again, right? But they did. So like I ended up getting the Caruso and the Anthony Davis ones, and I'm like thinking to myself, what do I do with the shirt now? But seriously, like, John Collins does what Kuz does, and that's interesting that you brought that up, like, because he can do what Kuz does, but better. Well, he's like a rich man's Kuzma.
This is another thing. Kuzma is more of a power forward, small forward, whereas like John Collins is a power forward center. So a lot of the Laker fans that have been bitching about, hey, like Marc Gasol is done, he's old and all that. I think Marc Gasol needs another center. And look, this will take a lot of pressure off of him because you're getting an athletic center, and this will give more playing time for Talen Horton-Tucker to stick around.
Oh yeah, that'd be sweet. Like the thing is, like the thing is that Atlanta, the only way they could do it though is like, I'm not sure if this is right or not, but if Atlanta has the cap space, they could do it. Right, because they had Kuz signed that extension with the Lakers, so whoever trades for him has to have cap space for next year to absorb that contract too.
I was going to say a tradable extension. That's the best part. I love it. Is it's still a tradable extension, right? I think the number is right.
Right. But but my point is that the only way that you could trade it this season, during in the season, is for the other team to have that cap space. I think if that rumor is coming about, then there's a possibility that Atlanta does have that cap space for next year too. It's a poison pill provision in the CBA. That's why. If they do that, then it would make sense. I mean, that's kind of interesting that John Collins isn't Trae Young. That's it would make sense for Kuz to go there too, because Kuz kind of has to be spoon fed. And he can't create his own shot, right? He's almost like he's MAGA. So he for him to go there, Trae would give him shots, would create shots for him. So that it would actually fit for him in a stylistic sort of way.
And plus, the way we see it with a lot of the players that have been drafted within the Lakers organization that have then left. We see the Brandon Ingrams, who is now become the star for the Pelicans. We see Julius Randle, who's flourished in another big city, which is in New York City. Knicks.
Great.
Yeah, and I think with Kuzma, Kuzma just needs. It's unfortunate because the times I do think he plays well are when Anthony Davis sits or when LeBron James is like hurt, something like that. But I think with him behind two superstars, that's when he hits his ceiling. Like there's so much more potential for him to grow elsewhere.
Right. Yeah. Like if he goes to a team where like he actually gets more playing time, his numbers will go up. It's just natural, right? It's just a natural course of things, and he'll probably get more rhythm. Right now, he's in and out of the starting lineup, and he's also playing a role where he shouldn't be. They're trying. I suspect that they're trying to showcase him. That's why they're playing him as shooting guard a lot before, and he's getting smoked out there, right?
Yeah.
But if you put him at power forward or small forward, he tends to be better, and so like. I think they're trying to showcase him, but if you put him like in a situation where like he's actually getting more minutes, I think he'll be better, and most for the people who don't like him, they'll be happy because they don't have to see him anymore. But the teams that act like when he actually starts for those teams, like let's say Atlanta or like a team that could use him like New York, like he'll get those minutes and he'll put up those numbers.
It's funny because I could see him in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I could see him in Atlanta or New York, especially New York. I could see him playing with Julius.